It's a bit tough.
I wanted to draw it like that because I couldn't make it so straight.
Right.
I like the sofa.
Sofa. What about what about the radio?
Radio is good.
Is the radio good?
Because if you can see the one that you have done with the sofa, it's very
Yes.
neat.
Because I drew it using the paintbrush and I considered the choice of my
Because
colors.
when you use a paintbrush, you use a shift brush, right? To do it.
The shift brush.
You shift it, right? So you make it straight line, right?
Yeah, the shift brush I used.
So sometimes you got to remember. See, when you remember this part, you use a shift brush to do it. Then when you use a glass of water, you didn't do the shift brush, right? On the table.
Well, only thing is I don't know how to use shift brush so carefully.
No, so yeah, next time we are gonna show you more of it.
How to use shift brush.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Rudy, this is perfect. This is a very good start. This is the first module, and I look forward seeing more drawings like your final project.
Pyramid. Now about the camel. The camel looks fine, but I don't think I can consider putting it close to the pyramid.
Where the camel is just perfect because once you go put it nearer to the pyramid, then it will be smaller from the perspective of the one looking at your portrait.
Yeah, I know the camel was big, but I reduced it to a smaller size
Which is just right.
because it's smaller than the pyramid.
Yes.
But it took me one whole week to do this project last week.
Which is just good because you have about 11 layers.
Last week it took me 5 days to make each of those 5 objects, and last week it took me one whole week to do this.
What's great with is that your transition from the time that you start until your final project, you would see a very good
Yeah.
development.
Well, the
So
only
keep it
thing-
up, and then hopefully in the next modules we'll be able to see more of this pyramid and camel that would have more portrait and concept art.
It may be a different thing.
Of course.
It may not have to be a pyramid.
Of course.
It may be something else, like maybe a city.
Yes.
It may be a city, maybe.
That's
For the
good.
next module, you're gonna learn pyramid. More of like perspective.
Yes.
And now about those clouds, I drew them using the soft brush, and I had to draw them carefully because it was to do with the lines.
Right. So
Alright.
now you know how to do a cloud, right? How to paint it
Always use this-
round.
always.
Yeah.
But just make sure, Rudy, the next time, remember we had some, I visited you in one of your classes. Make sure that you have a 300 by 300 pixels whenever you draw. Okay? So it's in high resolution. Okay? It will not be pixelized once we zoom it in.
Yes.
Alright?
Lastly, I want to show you the practice pyramids that I did before the final project. Let's go here. No, file. No, just go to file. Here. Try this practice pyramid.
There's 3 of them.
Okay, these are the practice ones I did before the final project. This is what they look like initially. Pyramids look like that.
Can you?
These are,
It's all practice, right? You did
yeah, all these are just practices.
before you get to that stage.
These were the practice pyramids I did before I did the final project. These are just practice pyramids. But my project looks like this because it's got color.
Next.
Do you have the line? No.
I traced it using the triangular method.
Alright. Yeah, this still got a bit of line. Okay.
But this is what my project looks like. It's similar to this, but it's not. But it's similar. So those are the practice ones I did before I did the final project.
Alright.
This was just an introduction to what the pyramid would look like. These are just practice ones I did. This one I did in class, and those 2 I did at home.